everybody, welcome back. I'm happy that you came today. Today we're going to talk about something fun and interesting called osmosis. Osmosis is talking about how water moves through a membrane. What's a membrane? A membrane, like this paper towel, is something that only allows certain molecules to get through it. That's certain pieces of things to get through it. So if I had this and I tried to push a pin through it, could I do it without breaking the membrane? No. But if I tried to let water go through here, would that work? Yeah, that would. So this is a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable means only some things can go through it. Now, when we're talking about osmosis, what we're talking about is if there's water on one side of this membrane and there's water mixed with something else on this side of the membrane, the water on this side is going to try to go through the membrane and make it so both sides have the same amount of water on them. So, how are we going to do an experiment with this? First, we need something with a membrane, right? So, an actually really fun thing that has a membrane on it is a gummy bear. So today we're going to do an experiment with gummy bears and with potatoes. So let's go get started. Here we have our experimental setup. We have a control for each of our experiments, our potato experiment and our gummy bear experiment. And we are going to initially just put pieces of potato and a gummy bear in there without any water or salt water. So, and then we're going to put some potato in with the no salt water, a gummy bear in with the no salt water. And then the salt water, we'll see what happens because we'll see if water comes out of the potato and out of the gummy bear, or we'll see if water still goes into those two. And we'll see where the concentration of water is highest. And we'll check back when we're done, when these have sat for a bit. Okay, it's been a couple hours and we're going to check on our results. If I compare what these two gummy bears look like compared to the control, it looks very different. Same with the potatoes. A closer look at the gummy bears shows that the salt water and the freshwater one have expanded compared to the control. Now if I look closer, I can see that the freshwater gummy bear is definitely the biggest. And then the saltwater gummy bear is a close second. And then the control gummy bear is the smallest. So let's talk about why these are our results. Why is the saltwater gummy bear smaller than the freshwater gummy bear? The answer is because the concentration difference between the inside of the gummy bear and the outside of the gummy bear was greater in the freshwater gummy bear. The salt just meant that the water moved slower into the gummy bear. If we had given it more time, it probably would have gotten just as big as the freshwater gummy bear. It just would have taken longer because the difference in concentration inside and outside the gummy bear was lower, which meant that the water moved into the gummy bear slowly. Now, let's use our sense of touch. We can see that the control gummy bear is not super squishy, and the one in the water is very squishy, and the saltwater gummy bear is in the middle. Now let's look at our potatoes. We have our saltwater potatoes, which are a little bit brown, our freshwater potatoes, which look just like they did when we put them in, and our control potatoes, which look very brown and very sort of shriveled. Let's look at these. These definitely look the best still, and these ones look really, 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 really sad. Look how bendy they are. So that's not what potatoes are supposed to do. They're not supposed to be flexible and bendy like that. Let's check our saltwater potatoes. They are also pretty bendy. They're also, hard to get a grip on. But yeah, they're bendy and they won't snap. Now let's try our freshwater potatoes. They're still hard to bend and still pretty crisp. You can see I'm trying, there we go. See, they'll crack before they're bend. So they're still pretty crisp. So what was the difference here? What happened to these potatoes? Why do they look so different? Let's talk about that. So now that we've looked at our gummy bears and our potatoes, we can decide what our conclusions are. What happened to the control gummy bear? Nothing, right? It stayed just the same. So what happened in the gummy bear in just plain water? It got really fat, right? Because that water was trying to push from the outside into the gummy bear in order to create that equilibrium we talked about earlier, where there's the same amount of water outside as inside. And then in the saltwater gummy bear, the same thing happened, but to a lesser degree because there wasn't as much of a difference outside the gummy bear and inside of the gummy bear. So the water was moving slower across that membrane. Now let's talk about the potato. What happened to the control potato? It turned really brown and it got really limp and gross. Why did it get limp? Well, what happened was the water was coming out of the potato, again, to try and create an equilibrium on either side of the membrane, and it would evaporate away. So it would keep putting out more water trying to reach that equilibrium, and that water would keep evaporating. So what happened in the plain water potato? Well, then the water was trying to go into the potato to create equilibrium. So it kept those potato cells really fat and juicy and crisp. And in the saltwater potato, what happened? It got really limp as well. Again, the water from inside the potato was trying to squeeze out of that potato to create that equilibrium that water is always looking for. Osmosis happens all around us all the time. Plants use it. Animals use it. It even happens inside of our own bodies. That's how our cells stay nice and juicy and just the way they're supposed to. That's why it's so important that we drink water every day. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. Hope to see you next time. Bye.